So let's start. So welcome to our first Sunny Sunday online event, Green Family. So my name is Denise, and for the ones that don't know, Sunny Sunday, like my friend Kit and I founded that initiative like half a year ago, and I tell you a bit more about it later. Today we talk about Green Family and how you can make your household a bit more sustainable. Just a few things now. So we will publish an ebook about this, so you don't need to write anything down or note stuff, because we will publish an ebook on our website. So please follow us on our social media so that you see when it's online. And it would be awesome to give us a bit of a community feel if you are logged in with YouTube, if you could just write your name and maybe a little bit about your background or how you came to Sunny Sunday in the chat. Sorry. And yeah, Kit is there to manage this, so she will moderate it. And if you cannot see the chat, so you have to do live chat, not top chat. This is what I figured out. Okay, then let's start here. We promised that we do a little bit of a distraction from the current situation, which is good, but we also want to acknowledge that it's a pretty tough time for a lot of us, or probably all of us, and we shared an article on our website about how we can get through hard times, and I just want to touch on this because I know that some people may struggle or don't know how to deal with that situation, so I shared some of my own thoughts on this. And the number one point is you have to stay positive. So I know, like for myself, that I sometimes have bad days, and that's totally fine, but at the end of the day we cannot change it, and it's good to stay positive and to make the best out of it. Then we find ourselves in a really special situation at the moment, where our work life changes, our private life changes, the things we used to do are not in the same, like you cannot do them in the same way that you were used to, but this is your time to get creative and to find ways to make it work. And I mean, this is the best example. Normally we run Sunny Sunday events live with our big community, and this is the first time that we do it online. And if you Skyped in a bit earlier, you saw that it was not the perfect start, but hey, now it's working, and it was really exciting to set this up, and especially Kit got really into it to figure out how we can have this event. Then a little advice that I personally do every day is practice gratitude. So every time or every night when we have dinner, my partner and I, we just think about what we are grateful for. And some days it's like heaps, it's like 5 or 6 points, and some days it's just that I say, oh, I appreciate the dinner that we just have and that I like it. And I think it really helps me to put things in perspective. And really important is also to be in touch with the people that you love and that you like. So it's good that you're here today, so you're in touch with your Sunny Sunday community, and I hope you find ways to be in touch with your family. And now is the time when your grandma or your, I don't know, relatives that don't use WhatsApp or Skype yet, to introduce them to this and make it work. And yeah, just even if you are used to do sports every week with a group, maybe find ways to still catch up or to give them a call, or yeah, just you're not alone, and make an effort to be in touch with the people you love. And I also think it's pretty hard that you cannot really, or you don't really have control over what is happening at the moment. So that's, for me, like every week is different, and we cannot plan our lives far ahead at the moment, which I struggle with too, because I'm a great planner. But I just have to focus on the things that I can control. So I can control which media I watch, I can control which books I read, I can control what my mood is so far, or like at least my mindset for this day. And there's a lot that you can control, and I think it's good to focus on this. And also really important is that we have to remember that this is a temporary situation. So it might be overwhelming, it might be a lot to take in, but at the end of the day, humankind faced so many challenges in the history already, so we will get over it, and I hope we make the best out of it, and even, yeah, maybe take the opportunity to be better after that than we were before. And the last point is be kind, not just to others, but also to yourself. So if you have a bad day, it's okay, it's normal. Just be kind to yourself and also to others. So if you can help or support others, and you're able to do this and you're happy to do this, please do so. And that can be all sorts of things, maybe just checking in with people that maybe live by themselves, or doing the grocery shopping for the elderly lady next door, or even going to do a blood donation, or whatever you think is nice and kind to help others. So enough of that, because I promised that we're gonna distract you from all that situation, but I just wanted to acknowledge that it's a hard time and you're not alone, and yeah, if you need anything, reach out. So what are we doing at Sunny Sunday? We are an initiative, and we have events once a month on a Sunday, and it's all around nature and protecting the planet or educating our community. And we meet once a month. We had a bees workshop, we had a compost workshop, we had a beach clean up. At the beginning of the year, we all just met. That is that photo on the right in the corner. We all just met and did a bushwalk to just set back and start the year and connect with nature again, which was really good. And this is what we do. So actually our events are all around people and meeting, and not sitting in a room and just talking to a computer screen. But hey, we can adapt, and it's actually fun to be able to do so. So I really appreciate that. And why are we here today? So today we have our Green Family event. Actually, we wanted to have a little mini market and all that, but yeah, now we just reduced it to this presentation, and we just want to give you some ideas or get you thinking about how you can have a more sustainable household, like living a life as a green family. And family is not, for us, not just that classical picture of 2 adults, 2 kids. It's everything. So it can be you and your pet, it can be you by yourself, it can be you and your partner, or whoever lives with you. We just want to give you some tips on how you can rethink the stuff you do in your everyday life, and give you some ideas, and also tell you what we are up to for the next months. And why we are not here is to make you feel guilty about what you're doing, or to give you anxiety that everything is bad in this world, or that you're part of it. That's not at all what we want. We just want you to have a look and to pick and choose what works for you, and some stuff might work for you and you're like, oh cool, I can try that, and some stuff might not work, and that's also totally fine. And another point is that I feel sometimes people think that changing to a sustainable household comes with increased costs, but this is actually also not what we want, because we don't want you to go out and buy all the zero waste products in your next possibility that you could do so. We just want you to maybe think, oh, I could try this next time, and then just use up what you have, and maybe instead of buying the product you used to buy, maybe try another one. So And we also want you to reuse stuff or think of using stuff in a different way so that you don't need to buy a lot of stuff. Sorry. I have a quote that I really like from Helen Keller. It says, "Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope or confidence." And this is what we want to give you on the way today. So stay optimistic and be confident in what you're doing, and yeah, this will lead to an achievement, and we do it step by step and in our own pace. So the fact that you're here today and that you're interested in all this already shows that you're optimistic and you're ready to rethink, which is awesome. So for this presentation, how to become a green family, we have 4 areas. So we have a look in our bathroom, then we see what we can do in the kitchen, we have a look in the garden, or just in general outdoor areas, a balcony. I don't know your living situation, but yeah, this is what we also have a look at. And then we look at kids, which doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have kids, but probably, or it could be that you have kids sooner or later, or that you have nephews and nieces, or that you can somehow in touch with kids in your daily life. And for me, it's always the question, why are we doing this? So what is the reason why we set up this event, and why would you want to become a green family? Like, what is the scientific evidence on that? And those are some numbers for New Zealand, because we are based in New Zealand. But I think in case, because we had some sign-ups from, to be like, I don't know, from all over the world, from Australia, USA, from Germany, so I don't know who is here today, but those numbers are from New Zealand, but like they also rely to other countries. And here it says that New Zealand households are becoming less efficient at managing the emissions they produce. That is, household emissions are increasing at a faster rate than the overall rate of household formation. So you see that households are actually playing a major role in our emissions. And the next slide also shows you the emissions per household, and you see that the 3 main drivers are food, transport, and housing utilities, whereas housing utilities is household energy, for example. And this shows that it's actually up to us, because everybody of us lives in a household, obviously, and food, transport, and housing utilities is in our range of, like, we can influence those points. And then we come to the next point. So I'm pretty sure that everybody of you knows about the plastic issue in the meantime. I mean, it was really in the media the last years that we should reduce our plastic and all that. So I just want to touch on this really quickly. Here in Auckland, I don't know if you know about it, but our stormwater pipes lead most of the time directly to the sea. So everything that we put in the street and that gets washed away, and those stormwater pipes directly goes to the sea. And even if you put your plastic in the recycling or landfill or wherever you put it, you actually never can be sure where it ends up, because it's like kind of out of your sight, and yeah, we just don't know where it will end up eventually. And this puts our sea life at risk. I mean, I think I don't need to show you the pictures of all the turtles and sea life that is influenced by our plastic use. And the thing is that at the end of the day, it also comes back to us. So if you eat fish, and the fish has a whole life where he just ate plastic and all that, like, it will end up in you again. So by saving the ocean and the sea life, you also save us or yourself. And another fact is that plastic is not easy to recycle. In fact, you most of the time downcycle the plastic. I don't know if you heard about that, but that means that you put a lot of energy in that plastic to give it a new form or a new life or whatever, but at the end of the day you put so much energy in, and it will always stay waste, so it will never go away, and it never really vanishes. It just breaks down, and I'm sure you have heard of microplastics. We had a really good presentation last year on that, how it influences us and how it puts us at risk. So yeah, this is a real issue, and if we can, like, obviously I also buy stuff that is wrapped in plastic because it's sometimes hard to get stuff that is not wrapped in plastic, but I would love when you just go to the supermarket next time and you see a product that is wrapped in plastic, if you just stop and rethink if there's a possibility to get this product not being wrapped in plastic, or if you buy a lot of plastic bottles, if you think about using a reusable bottle or whatever works for you. I think there's a lot of opportunities for everybody. Then another point that really surprised me is that, like, I knew that food waste contributes to climate change, but actually it makes up to 10% of our greenhouse gases, and I come to that later why that is so. And in New Zealand alone we put over 150,000 tons of food each year going to the bin, and this is worth over $1 billion. So this is a lot of money that people have to work for, and you put your energy in, and then you actually put your money and all the energy that went in to produce that food in the bin. And the point why, like, I figured it out too, like, I thought, if I have food scraps and I just put it in a bin, in a normal bin, in a landfill bin, then it will rot. But the thing is, if something that can break down organically is put into the landfill, and it will break down inorganically, it will release methane. So actually, by putting food scraps in your landfill bin will contribute to climate change. And as you can see, when we put all this together, it's 10%, which is a lot. And when we're talking about methane, so for people that may not know what that is, this is a really potent greenhouse gas that contributes to climate change. And surprisingly, New Zealand has the largest methane emissions rate. So obviously in the worldwide rank, we are on the spot 44, which is already, I think quite high up. But in comparison to how many people are living here, we have the largest methane emissions. And that comes because we have a lot of agriculture, like sheep, deer, cattle, and also the landfills that we have contribute by 4% to the New Zealand emissions. So what that tells you is the less we put in landfill, the less methane we create, and this is a really important thing. So we should really reduce our rubbish that we send to the landfill. And I can also just say that Auckland Council, for example, will increase the cost for landfill rubbish a lot. I don't have the exact numbers, but it's you can read that online. It's really a lot. So at the end of the day, you will also save money by not putting so much rubbish in the landfill and find other ways. And there's so many more numbers, so I could probably talk about that whole topic for a few days, but I just, to put things in perspective, so if we think about kids, and you have 4,000 to 5,000 nappies that go in the bin if you use nappies that you throw away till they don't need nappies anymore. Then we have 350,000 tons every year that is single-use packaging that goes to the landfill here. And a big problem in New Zealand is also the tires. So we have 5 million tires each year that go to waste, and obviously a big part of that goes to the landfills, which is not ideal, but at least that's where it's kind of supposed to be. But I mean, you see it on the side of the roads, like a lot of that, of those tires also go to places where they'd rather not be, and then, yeah, just that doesn't look nice if you have all this rubbish at the side of the road, or it will end up in the ocean or whatever. So how can we become a green or a greener family? There is some principles. So you have rethink, refuse, reduce, reuse, refurbish, repair, repurpose, recycle, whereas recycle is the last option, because a lot of time you downcycle, and you should go through that process first before you really think, okay, I cannot have an alternative and then I have to recycle a product. But you start with rethinking. This is the first step, and this is also the main reason why we are here today. So we just want to give you some ideas of what we can do or think about to not even come to the points below. And we start off with the bathroom. So why the bathroom? In my research, I figured out that 75% of the water that we actually use in our bathroom, which makes sense. So I think it's a good opportunity to try to rethink our use of water. I read an interesting post the other day where a lady, you know, even in our house it takes a while till the water for the shower gets warm, so that lady puts a bucket in her shower and she just collects the water till the shower is warm, and then she waters her garden with that water. Or also just reducing your showering time to 5 minutes, or seeing how much water per minute actually comes out of your shower and maybe reducing the pressure. There's a lot of opportunities to get into that. And another point that was really interesting for me when it comes to products that we use in the bathroom or around the bathroom, and especially here for the ladies, we have each year 45 billion products that are related to periods, which is tampons, pads, or yeah, what people use to deal with that. And this is a lot of rubbish on the one hand, but it's also a lot of money that goes in there. So it's almost a luxury product that women can deal with a period. And there are products, for example, the menstrual cup or the reusable period pads that you can buy once and you have them for years. So it actually reduces our rubbish, but it also at the end of the day is cheaper. I think the menstrual cup is, depending on from where you buy it, but it's something between $30 or $40, at least in New Zealand, and you can use it for years. Yeah, and there's, you see that picture that I put up here, so this is just ideas on what you can change. So you don't have to go through that list and buy everything, and maybe some of that stuff doesn't work for you. But also a product that I changed is the shampoo and conditioner bar. So I read that we had 80 billion bottles per year that are just related to shampoo and conditioner. And yeah, we have those shampoo bars now. They come in a recyclable package and they last forever. Like, I started using them in July last year, and it was the second time that I had to buy a new one. So it's still a lot left, so it will probably last over a year. So I spend 2 times money to have my conditioner and my shampoo sorted, and I avoid bottles, which is awesome. So there is a lot of things that you can do and swap in the bathroom. As I said, everything what you have here will be in the ebook, and a little bit more even. So just after the event, follow us on Instagram and Facebook to see when the ebook is up, and you can have a look through your bathroom and just think like, oh, do I need this? Do I need this product to get the use out of it that I want, or can I swap it? And if you decide that you can't, then it's also all good. And a little, I call it Sunny Sunday tip here, is if you use bamboo toothbrushes, just want to tell you that the bristles are not recyclable. So before you put your toothbrush in the compost, please remove the bristles. Here, this is on the picture, they really got them out. I just break the bristle, I just break the toothbrush, and the part of the bristles goes in the normal bin, and then the handle goes in the compost. And around the bathroom, and especially beauty products, it's so interesting how many recipes you can find to make your own products, and you have to figure out what works for you, as always, but it's actually really fun to get into that. And I feel that a lot of those products that you produce with natural products and that you make at home are actually better for your skin. I have my friend Romy who wanted to listen in today too, and she told me that she used jojoba oil instead of moisturizer, and that her skin is doing much better, and that she bought one bottle and it lasted forever, and she bought it in a glass bottle, so that glass can truly be recycled. And it's just so interesting to see what you can do. And this is just one example that I put up here, but as soon as you get into it, there's so much out there, and I'm convinced that this is also better for you, because those big beauty companies, a lot of times I feel that I use one of their products and then my skin or my hair or whatever is kind of addicted to it. So when I use natural moisturizer or oil or whatever, I feel like if I don't use it for a day, it's totally fine. But if I use sometimes moisturizer from other commercial companies, then I feel like as soon as I don't use it for a day, my skin really feels weird. So I'm convinced that if you get into making your own, that's actually also better for your health. And as I said, I could talk for ages to all those points, but I just wanted to give you a bit of inspiration here. So we're heading over to the kitchen now, but before that I want to read a little quote to you from the Dalai Lama, which says, "It is our collective and individual responsibility to preserve and tend to the world in which we all live." And I think I really love this quote, because as we saw in the stats, that the household is actually responsible for a lot of stuff that is going on in the world when it comes to climate change. So sometimes we focus on criticizing politicians, for example, why they don't do much more about climate change and all that. But I think actually it starts in everybody of us to make the first step, and we can do things, and everybody is able to do their part to contribute that we reduce climate change. So yeah, it's on the individual, and the individuals then make the society. So we come to the kitchen. There is a lot of swaps that you can do too. So what I also like to say, I prefer the term low waste over zero waste. I think it's awesome if you have some people that really reduce their household waste to a jar per year. Like I see that online, I'm like really impressed, but I also know that this wouldn't work for everybody, and it's awesome for the people that can make that happen. But I don't know, not everybody has the capabilities or the motivation or whatever it is, and I don't want people to see this and think like, oh, I cannot go, like I can never be there anyway, so I don't even want to try. So me personally, I prefer the low waste term, because you just reduce as much as you can. And at the end of the day, we have to live, so there will always be a little bit of waste. I think we cannot get around this. And you have here a few examples what you can do in the kitchen. For example, the next time when you go and need a new, I don't know, like a new measuring device or whatever, you can just look for the glass options instead of the plastic ones. I think a lot of us already have reusable bottles, and also the keep cups are really popular at the moment. What we also do if we go to our favorite Indian place and it's open, we bring our own containers most of the times. Or yeah, even if you need a new kitchen machine, maybe ask around in your family or in your friends. Like, I bet in every family or circle of friends you have someone who bought a bread baking machine once, and they have used it a few times, and then now it's somewhere sitting in their cupboard, and maybe someone else might use it for a while. So I think this is a good way to go. And yeah, just think about what you can do. Just have a look around in your kitchen and rethink if you can. Then also a big point in the kitchen is food storage. As I said before, we have a big contribution to climate change due to food waste. So it's really important that we store our food correctly, so that it doesn't rot before it actually has to rot. So there are a few tricks and tips on the left how to store your food. And what is also really important, that you kind of look at your fridge. There is also some images online where you can see in which part of the fridge you should store which food. An example that I brought is that food that is already prepared should go to the top of the fridge. So this is like jams and pickles and all that stuff. And also make sure that your fridge has the right temperature. So in the fridge it should be like 4 degrees or lower, and in the freezer -18 degrees or below. So just make sure that your fridge has the right temperature to store your food in a good way. And also a point that is really important, if you have leftovers and you want to pack them away, that's awesome. But just make sure that they cool down before you put them in the fridge, because otherwise you really encourage that the rate of bacteria is growing way faster than it would, like if it's still warm, you put it in the fridge, the bacteria grows way faster. So what I do, for example, I put it in my container, and I just either put a little like a cloth over it for it to cool down and let it sit on the bench, or I just put the lid a bit in an angle on it so that it can cool down, and then after a couple of hours or whenever, I put it in the fridge. It really keeps fresh, or like without mold much longer. Next point. Sorry. It's just really weird to talk so long and to not have any reaction. But it's cool. It's nice. I'm really happy that we can make this happen. So, another point. What is happening in the kitchen? I know this is a really controversial topic, and I don't want to change anyone here, but I just want to give you an idea that like how eating meat and animal product influences your carbon footprint. And I don't want anybody to go vegan from today to tomorrow, because obviously this is the best carbon footprint. But I just want you to have a think, like when you hear just reducing the meat intake by 50%, like what difference that makes to your CO2 footprint. And to share something personal, I think I've been vegetarian now for 7 years roundabout, And I never decided to be vegetarian. So when I was 18, I think, oh, maybe I'm vegetarian for longer, but I read a book and it really got me thinking, and I read more and more about that whole topic, how how my daily food influences what is happening in the world. And I was not aware. I think in the meantime people are way more aware that it's not just about the suffering of the animals, but it's also the water that we need to produce this, that the agriculture that we could feed our world. Like we don't need to have people that suffer from hunger in this world, because our produce that we have is 3 times, we could feed the world 3 times from what we have. But what we do is a lot of the grains and everything we grow goes in the food that we produce, when you think about beef and pork and all this, because the animals have to eat before they grow and can be slaughtered and land on your plate. And so when I read more and more about it, I just said, okay, I cannot go vegetarian, but I want to reduce my meat consumption. So I just said, okay, I eat meat once a week or whatever. I don't know what it was, maybe twice a week. And then I reduced it to once a week. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna eat meat for special occasions. And like step by step, I reduced it. And it took me a year to become vegetarian. And all of a sudden, I just was a vegetarian. I never decided to become one in the first place. And I think this is how we have to do this. Like, don't judge people who still want to eat meat. And if you are already vegetarian and vegan, and just encourage people to do the next step. So what I did with friends that were really stubborn on that topic, I didn't tell them like, oh look, this and this is happening, because I knew that they are not, like, it will not work. But I just cooked like the most amazing vegetarian recipes, and just told them afterwards, oh, by the way, this was vegetarian. And then they are like, oh, cool, so vegetarian food is actually nice too. And there's so many ways and approaches. I just want to tell you that if you want to make a change, this is a fairly easy thing to do. And to get you motivated, I put up some nice pictures of some nice vegetarian food. So maybe for your lunch you're gonna have vegetarian, or for your dinner tonight. It would be great, but no worries if you already bought your stuff and not. Another big point, so this is again a New Zealand number, but I'm pretty sure that it will also apply to other countries, is bread. So bread is New Zealand's #1 wasted food, and I think this is because it's pretty, like, bread is cheap and you buy it and you kind of forget it, and then it gets moldy and you're like, ah, whatever, I throw it away, buy a new one. But it's actually so sad, because there's so much work that goes into producing bread, and it's most of the times wrapped in plastic, and yeah, then all your money goes in there and then you just throw it away. And there is ways to avoid that. So what we do at home, we don't eat bread every day, or not heaps. So we just put it, like, it's already sliced, and we put it in the freezer, and whenever we want bread, we just get the amount out that we need. But if you eat bread and, like, this wouldn't work for you, the freezer option, it's also important to place it in a dark and dry place, so not somewhere in the sun or wherever. Like, best choice is probably the cupboard. And also a little thing that I want to share with you is, I don't know why, but my partner and I, we don't like the crusts of bread. So what I have is a little bag in the freezer where we collect all the crusts that are left over from when we buy bread. Or this is also for old bread that is already really hard. You just slice it up and put it in the freezer. And then I made vegan French toast recently, and it was really good. So again, this recipe also will be in the ebook, so don't worry about writing it down. But yeah, this was such a good treat for a Sunday. You just collect those crusts over a few weeks or a few months or however long you need, or oat bread, and then you treat yourself to really nice French toast on the weekend. Next topic. Um, I don't know who is lucky enough of you to have a garden, but even if you don't have a garden, this chapter is interesting for you, because I just want to tell you a bit more why gardens and composting is important, and also how you can support bees when you don't have a garden. And I don't know who's online who knows me, but I'm an environmental and civil engineer. So when we think about the temperatures in the city, there's a term that is called urban heat island. So you can really see when you have a landscape and then a city and then forest or whatever, that when you look at the temperature, that over the city the temperature peaks, and this is because there's so much concrete and glass that heats up and really produces a lot of heat in the city. So if we don't have green spaces like parks or gardens, if possible, the city will heat up, and obviously we suffer from that because I don't know, there was a summer in Europe where a lot of people died because they couldn't just handle the heat, you know. So gardens and urban areas really control the heat or the temperatures. And if you think of the other side of the weather, the rain, obviously when a raindrop falls on concrete, like the runoff is just 100% or almost 100%. And when you have garden or park or like just soil, it obviously absorbs water and it helps us to prevent flooding. And I'm sure you know all the pictures about flooding in urban areas like villages or cities, and it's horrible if that happens to someone when your house is flooded. So if we have more green spaces in the cities, we will be able to control temperature, and we will also prevent flooding, which is awesome. And obviously when you have a green space and a garden, you support the birds and the wildlife, and especially also the bees. And everybody of you knows that we need the bees for most of the food that we eat, and so you, at the end of the day, you're supporting yourself again. And composting is it became a really important topic to me over the last months, because we had a compost workshop, and we also had the Love Food Hate Waste workshop, and I realized how important composting is. So why is composting important? I told you before that if we put our food scraps in the landfill bin, that it will release methane. But if we put our food scraps and also paper and napkins and tea bags and all sorts of things that you can compost, in our compost, it will break down organically and it will not release methane. So you're actively contributing to reduce climate change when you have a compost. And what is also really important, our agriculture, our soils where they grow our food, they don't have the nutrients anymore that we actually need to really have good fruit, and that we get the nutrients we need out of that fruit and those vegetables we eat. So if you have your own compost, you really create a beautiful, rich soil that you can implement in your garden, and your fruit and your veggies that you grow with that compost are so much better to eat and so much more healthy for you, because you add a lot of nutrients where you have beneficial microbes in that, and also the compost in the soil holds the water better, so this is good for your plants and it improves the growth of your plants. So composting is a really cool topic, and even if you don't have a garden where you can have that classical compost, we heard that in our compost workshop that we have the fukashi and we also have worm farms. I hope that we can run another compost event this year because there was a lot of interest in that, and it's a really cool topic. And actually everybody, no matter if you live in an apartment, if you live in Europe or USA or New Zealand, you can all do it. It's just awesome. And I also want to talk about supporting our bees. I mean, a lot of you probably heard that, yeah, that we kind of kill our bees, which is so sad. And in our bee workshop, we even heard stuff that in China, in the meantime, they have, like, people have to go and fertilize the flowers because there's no bees anymore. So they have little feathers, and then they have to fertilize the flowers. And I really hope that we don't get into that situation. So we should support our bees, and each of you can do that no matter where you live by, for example, providing a source of water. So you have that little picture here of that bowl where there's a few stones in there or sticks so that the bee can land and drink. And just one thing is that people think that they have to add sugar to the water. That's not the truth. The bees should get that out of the nectar and not of the water. So they just need water, so it's super easy to do. You can put that anywhere. And if you live in the city or if you live in the countryside, and no matter where you're from, planting native flowers is always supporting your bees the best. And we learned in our bee workshop that apparently bees prefer blue flowers. So if you can't decide which color you want to plant, if you want to think about the bees, blue is the way to go. And what the idea that I love, and I hope I get to do this in the self-isolation, and I will put up a photo of that if I do, to build a bug hotel or bee hotel. You can basically, like this one on the picture is a really nice one, but you can basically see if you have maybe some timber left over or whatever you find in the garden, and there's heaps of manuals online, and build it yourself and just put it up, and then maybe put it in your herb garden or surrounded by flowers, and bees will really appreciate and love that. By the way, this is also a really nice thing to do with kids, together with kids. So if you look for an activity to do with your kids on the weekend, especially in those crazy times at the moment, I think you get quite a few hours of entertainment out of that. And another Sunny Sunday tip. So this is Jessie, who ran the bees workshop that I talked about from Bees Up Top. So she is saving bees. So all the Auckland people, if you have a beehive, please don't kill it. Call her and she will save the bees and bring them out to Bethel's. And she also has bees on the rooftops of Auckland, and she even said that the bees in the city do better than the ones out in Bethel's, because apparently there's way more food and less competition in the city. So she's really an amazing person, and she does her, like, she produces obviously honey with the bees that she saved. And I know that some vegans don't eat honey, and I understand the reasons for it if it's commercial honey, but if it's someone like Jessie, I really can advocate for that this is the kind of person you want to support. So find your local beekeeper who really loves the bees and doesn't just use them in a commercial way, and you can enjoy your honey and support a local beekeeper, which is amazing. So we are at our last point of this presentation, which is kids. And as I said at the beginning, please stay with us even if you don't have your own kids, or if you don't plan on having kids. I bet that you're at some point surrounded by kids in your life, and I think it is so important that we bring up a new generation that has sustainability as a foundation in their education, so that it's not a question anymore for them, but that the leaders of the future, the politicians of the future, the scientists, the engineers, just the people that are living here, like everybody really, keeps it in mind that we have to live a sustainable life. And Also not just because we want to save the earth or whatever, also just to save humankind and to guarantee that we have everybody and the future generations have a really nice life here. So I think it's really important to teach kids sustainability early on, so that for them it's not a question, it's just the new normal, that we consider sustainability and green thinking in our decisions. And I have found some ideas on how to do this. So a really funny idea that I found is the Green Team Walk. So you can give yourself a cool name and you just grab some gloves and bags, and maybe you even dress up as superheroes or whatever, and just go out and collect some rubbish. And apart from making the surrounding nicer, you show them how much rubbish we actually have. Even like when we did the beach cleanup with Sustainable Coastlines, we went to Point Chef and it looks like a super clean beach, but if you really look closely, you see all the rubbish that is there. So just raising the awareness, and obviously everything that has to do with playing outside, going to the bush, show them the beauty of nature and get them to appreciate this and get them to want to protect this is, I think, really important. And again, if you have a garden or outdoor space or whatever, it's super fun to plant a garden with the kids and to do stuff like collecting rainwater and just explaining them how food actually grows. And I think if you give them a little patch where they can grow something easy like strawberries or whatever, it's like the biggest reward if they can eat their own strawberries at the end of the season. And also when you have a garden, or you don't even have to have a garden, you can also look for projects that do tree planting. It's so cool if you plant a tree and maybe a few years later you go back and see how much the tree grew, or explaining them what positive impact trees have, like that they bind CO2 and all that. And another thing is that there's more and more books out on the market that deal with sustainability as a topic. I have a little collection on that in the ebook, so you can have a look at this if you're interested. And then I found, like when we talk about books, I found this the other day on the internet and I really liked it. So you see a mom here reading a book, and on her lap, her kid, probably her kid, reading a book too. And then it says, they ask her, how did you persuade your child to read instead of playing with smart devices? And then she said, children don't hear us, they imitate us. And I think this is so true. Like, how can we ask them to be better if we don't show them how to be better? So if you want your kid to act or to be in a certain way and to be a good human, or like that applies to everything, not just sustainability or reading, then you have to show them how to do this, because they're gonna imitate you. And then I also put together a little list of low waste gifts for kids. So as I said, if you're not a parent yourself, but I'm sure that you get invited to kids' birthdays sooner or later, and you may think about, I don't want to give them another plastic toy that sits in the corner then after a while. I really want them to get something out of that, and I want it to be low waste. So there's heaps of stuff you can do that is actually not a product, like giving them vouchers or inviting them to go with you to a museum. You can go to events like kids theater or musicals, or just give them just go with them to a theme park or like a water park, because I feel if you give kids toys, what will happen, they would find it exciting and they get excited over something, but this joy doesn't last really long, and then you need another toy that brings that joy up, and it's all the weird circle of up and down. But if you have like an activity you don't have something afterwards, but you have the memory, and you can always think back, oh, do you remember that day when we had a lot of fun in the water park or whatever. So I think this is way more sustainable in a lot of ways, not just when it comes to waste. And also like giving them like, or inviting them to classes, like that could be painting or pottery or doing something with their hands. What I figured out was when I was babysitting a lot in my early 20s, late teens, that kids love to cook. Like if you just give them a simple, like if they're big enough to read, just print them a simple recipe and give them the ingredients, and they love to do this. And maybe your kitchen is a mess afterwards, but hey, it keeps them busy for a while. So maybe all those ideas are also good ideas for the situation that we find ourselves. So how to keep them busy. And then there's also obviously stuff that you can give them to encourage certain activities, like a baking set, a gardening set, a cooking set, sport gear, binoculars to just do bird watching or whatever. You can go to the op shop, say you guys have so and so much money, get what you want, and we do a dress up party afterwards. You can give them board games or construction blocks. And what I said yesterday when we went on a walk, I said to my partner, oh man, if I would have kids, I would buy them a lot of pavement chalk, and then I would say, you go out and you decorate the footpath for all the people, and I think they, or like the driveway or whatever, and I think they would be busy for hours doing this. So little advice from my side. And this is also already the end of this presentation, so I hope that we could give you a few ideas. As I said, there's so much more that you can do and think about, and I could obviously talk another 4 hours about that, but the idea of that whole workshop is to give you a bit of an idea what you can do, or maybe it opens up other things that you think about. And we would be really stoked if you have some ideas or what you do in your household that I didn't mention or that I didn't think about, and you can share that with us on our social media channels, so either Instagram or Facebook. Just give us a post, and yeah, also a little feedback on how you like the online event. As I said, it's the first time that we have done it, and it's a really new situation for us, a new situation of trying programs, a new situation of having this format, and we would be keen on really constructive feedback to make it better the next time, because we will run our events online until the situation changes. So this is also my next point, the planned events for 2020. We have a well-being workshop planned that talks about mental and physical well-being, and Kid went crazy in contacting all sorts of people. It's so cool, like the people that she contacted that will talk to us about their experiences, how like challenges they faced and how they overcame it and how they got out stronger. And she has a doctor who started a really cool program, and we have a motivational coach. We have just some people that we know that went through hard times and really did amazing things. I don't want to take away too much because I want you to be there and to sign up. In the mental health aspect, we will talk about meditation, how you can use your breath to really improve your well-being, and also how you can train your mindfulness. And we also talk about our physical well-being, so how does activity influence our well-being, what does nutrition do to us, and why eating seasonally is important and how you can benefit from that. And another important point that we will have is, because I feel sometimes you don't know how to help people that are in a really challenging situation in their life, so we will also give you a few leads on how to seek professional help if you want to help someone else. And yeah, we will have a lot of inspiring stories, and we hope that you sign up for this and just tune in. It's gonna be the same format as this, like an online event. And apart from our online events, we really want to work on our website. So Kit did an amazing job by we rethought our color scheme on our website. So please, if you haven't so far, have a look there, and we will upload articles on our website. I filmed already a few how to garden videos with one of the best gardeners, or probably the best gardener I know, which is my partner's mom. And she's also a teacher, so it's really cool. I just have to figure out how to cut videos and get stuff from the GoPro to the computer. So if anyone has advice on this or wants to help me with this, I'm also really happy about this. And we will upload this on our new YouTube channel that you watched that video on. And also at the end, I just want to say a big thank you to a few people. So as I said in the beginning, this whole event was planned as a mini market, and we also wanted to have a muesli, like how to do your own muesli workshop. We had Emma, who wanted to show you how to sustainably wrap your lunches, and obviously all this couldn't happen, and we're gonna do that another day. And I also really want to give a big shout out to Gina, which is our friend, Gina Rose. She is a designer, and she focuses at the moment on baby clothes, and she bought a lot of fabric from the op shops for this event, so that she could make new baby clothes. And obviously we cannot offer her that market spot now, which makes me feel a bit sad. But if you need a gift, or if you have a baby yourself and you need some clothes, please head to her Instagram and have a look. She has so many cool designs. And if you need something, like I myself went back to Germany over Christmas, and she made a little cot blanket for me with my wishes. Like I said, I want to have a New Zealand theme on it, and she bought amazing fabrics and made a custom made blanket for my friends for their baby. So she's really awesome. So please head over and have a look on her site, or give her a like or a follow, even if you don't need something now. And then we also want to say thank you to the Good For shop. They gave us vouchers for our people that attend the event. So if you sign up today and you come to the next live event, you get a Good For voucher. Like for the people who don't know what that is a as it says here, Whole Foods refillery. So if you want to live package free, you can head over and bring your jars and fill up your nuts and pasta and all sorts of things. Olive oil and also cleaning products, everything. And a big thank you to NSL, who sponsored microphones, the one that I'm talking into, and this one. So we have microphones now, and I'm really happy about this. So this enables us to do high quality sound. And I think we also gonna, when we go back live, we're gonna record the events from now on, so that we have this material. Yeah, so thank you to all those people. And if you want to stay up to date with us, so please sign up for events. This is our email address, hello@sunnysunday.nz. If you have any questions, if you have feedback. I think there was also a feedback link in that email to this event today. It would help us a lot if you could fill that out, because to be fair, we get thrown into this situation spontaneously too, and we try our best, but we also run this without any budget or with our own money. So we appreciate feedback. This is what you can give back if you have a few spare minutes. Then check out our website. As I said, it's a new design. We upload material there. We will upload the ebook. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram if you want to stay up to date and if you want to see what we are up to in future. And also if you want to have some more ideas and inspiration for how we can make the world a little bit of a better place by our actions. So thank you for tuning into this event. It was really cool, really new for me. I hope to see you soon again, as long as we have to online, and hopefully soon back in person, because I really miss the community and all the people that come to our events and to connect and to have some chats. So I hope to see you soon, here or in real life. And obviously all the information that I talked about, I got that from a lot of sources, but it's like so much that I don't want to list it here. But if you want to have a look and learn more about everything that I talked about, please download our ebook, and the sources are all in the back. So thank you for listening, and also Kit says thank you, and the next event is Kit will run it and I will be in the background. Bye.